sacrificing to turn into my best self. Yeah, I'm aware that it's something there. I'm sacrificing to turn into my best self. Yeah, I'm aware that it's something there. I'm sacrificing to turn into my best self. I'm aware that it's something there. I'm sacrificing to turn into my best self. I'm transcending. Are you going alone? Coming with me. I'm transcending. Are you going alone? Coming with me. I'm transcending. Are you coming along? Going with me. I'm making change overnight. I'm making change overnight. Most of the time I abide by the guidelines of life, but sometimes it gets rough and I try to find another route that I can take before I rage and spaz out. You see, life for these some cards you don't want to face, but you gotta learn to take it in stride and keep pace like Usain Bolt winning your life race. Do everything from within to keep your mind straight. Gotta go beyond the limits of your grind rate. Gotta turn it up and not do it for time's sake. You can't accomplish nothing when you sit in time waste. Don't let it pass away doing what you did yesterday. Cause tomorrow's not a promise. You could get caught up in the moment. Before you know it, your whole focus is on something that's so irrelevant. But you say that you're so intelligent. It's all about trying to figure out the truth to decrease doubt from within, so you can find your own way out of what keeps you from giving it all you got. Trying to surpass your past and pass everything that lags, and then you find that time pass fast like a flash. So
We transcending overnight. Oh, yes. Peace and love, community, eternal love, and KOS. I hope you can see the screen. On the screen, we got a very high honorable American, first American to bring and unite the people. As you see, the name on the screen is, this is Noble Drew Ali. As you see, the hand is on the heart. This represents the covenant with the law. So we must understand this name is very, very important for our minds to understand. Before, a lot of the things you have heard, Noble Drew Ali was the originator of the first as an American. As an American born in America and have the descent line. And this is what's so important, that this man brought back to us, the people of America, the teachings of Jesus and the teachings of Muhammad. This is very powerful to know, and we must know. You can do your own research if none of this research that I have convinces you. This man was born in 1886 as Timothy Drew, and through earning, he became Noble Drew. So what I want to highlight is what impacted my own life from this great effort. And this effort was a missionary work to unify all citizens. And so this man brought forth not only the teachings of Jesus and the teachings of Muhammad, never done before in one literature, in one way. And then at the same time, uniting all the people from the hidden ancestry that has been unknown for centuries. So we're going to go right on in and get to the message. The message he left for us was, I want to leave and start on 8. We are returning to Islam, which was founded by our for our earthly and divine salvation. Up to this point, our forefathers was unknown. To this point, our forefathers became known. And if this is your first time hearing it, this is why this is your first time hearing it. You see, our forefathers are Moorish. And so it's something about Moorish we need to understand, because Moorish is something we was pointed to. As Americans, we need to know what Moorish is and are. And now we are pointed to that this particular salvation was already founded, that we didn't need anything new. We already had something old. And we will come to know that this is called Islam. And as you see, this is in the 1900s when this is released. And as you see right there, it tells us who our forefathers are as Americans, the Moorish, and the way of life was Islam. And so I had to do a tremendous amount of study to understand, because this word never came across my ears, knowing any public school system all the way up after graduating with diplomas and degrees, this word still was not heard. So it became intriguing. And before anybody had any saying of Islam, Noble Drew Ali was the first to bring Islam. Now we see that when through the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, he tells us that Jesus has a holy name that the angels gave him at birth. But those who are still a slave to sin cannot use it. And so this is why this word is in our divine creed. And so this is what else I want to point out. So it's not only for our divine salvation, but also our earthly. And this is called Islam. It's for our earthly and divine, both collectively for salvation. Now, number 9 says the covenant of the great God, Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that our days may be longer upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God, Allah, have given you. So this is what we was given as a gift, not only the gift of Allah, but the gift of the earth land. But this has been kept known to the Americans due to they not knowing their descent. And so our descent, there's nothing wrong with knowing our descent. So it says, number 10, come all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your descent and your divine birthrights, because you are not what you've been told that you are, like Negroes, black and colored. But most importantly, after studying that and finding that to be true, what I was focused on was the divine salvation. Because if you get the divine salvation, the earthly shall be added unto it, as we know from studying precept line by line. So the next line says, learn of your forefathers, ancient and divine creed. Not this to collect this from the root to the tip. And so understanding now what Islam is the teachings of Jesus given to us by Muhammad. And we must need for all of us to learn of our forefathers' ancient and divine creed. And so this comes in. It says that we need to return to Islam. And so now I have something for us to see. When it says return, that's a statement to go back. So to go back is to go back to our ancient forefathers' way. So as we see right there, you see that date, 610. So documentively, we have 610 as our starting date to access our Moorish forefathers and Moorish foremothers. Because remember, you come out of your mother and your father. So we have a starting timeline of 610. So let's just go back there for a second. We have a starting line of 610. This has never been revealed. So when they say the Moors ruled in the 7th century, well, here is the evidence. And what ruled in the 7th century? It was Moorish Islam. And 610 is after Jesus' death. So this should bring in a beautiful timeline because a lot of things have transpired after Jesus' death, and we should see a collection of unknown things that we didn't know if this is ancient document and proof. So our timeline and our beginning of our origin is going to be in this modern day 610 CE or AD. All right, and so we gonna start. We're gonna start right. We're gonna get right to it to just bring everything to what was stated at the beginning, returning to our way of Islam. So Islam is not nothing extremely new. It's actually older than what we think due to the translators and the translations and the historians. So as we see, number 25 says, in regards to our study right here, on number 8, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. Getting? We getting? So 25 tells us the true way. The true way of Islam is based on one principle above all others. Respect yourself first, and then so shall you respect all others. Now, the true way of Islam is called Sufa 2, the way. And you see number 2, the one way, the true way. So as we come down back to 25, the true way of Islam is based on one principle above all others. So that true way is the Al Sufyan. The Al Sufyan of Islam. The Al Sufyan of Islam. The Al Sufyan of Islam is what number 8 was referring to down to 9 and 10. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed. Our ancient and divine creed is called Al Sufyan. Number 2. And you say, hey, what do Sufa mean? Well, number 18. Sufa means Sufa is a character of wisdom, capacity, representative, token, or image or picture. So everything we would want from heavens to earth to symbols to no symbols is the Sufa. Sufa representing wisdom. So we got through 25. So let's go to the next. Where it tells us 54. Instead, Islam is first, not second. is first a devotion to self-knowledge. Now, who is the only one to tell us to study, study, study? And when you have done and studied well and ask me what to study next, my reply would be study yourselves. So Islam is first a devotion to self-knowledge and self-restraint. Is that not self-mastery? Community, Moorish community, is that not self-mastery? Our self-Lord and master? To honor God through your good works, through my good works and virtuous life. To honor God through your good works, my good works, and your virtuous life, my virtuous life. This is what Islam is. So now we have an understanding what Islam is from the Moorish perspective and the ancient divine creed. Now we're going to go to the timeline of the Moorish prophets. And we're going to begin with some sacred texts. We're going to begin at the sacred altar. And this information has never been revealed. So put on your ether belts, strap it to the 9, and we finna take it to the infinite. So let's raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom. We're going to start the timeline because this will be a measure where we know this exists. But we didn't know all this happened. So we finna be exposed now. All right, Sufa 66. Sufa being a character of wisdom. Sufa 66, the sacred altar. Al-Bakar. Al-Bakar, the sacred altar. 1. O you who believe, let it be said, Al-Bakar. What does Al-Bakar means? The sacred altar. Al-Bakar means the resting place of the divine. This is a divine move, the resting place of the divine. What does Al-Bakar mean? The doorway. The doorway to heaven. To heaven. And also, this is the 53rd name of Allah, who is the one, the absolute, the almighty. Okay, let the truth now be revealed concerning the most ancient city of learning, known as Al-Bakar. Al-Bakar is also an ancient city, and in this ancient city was learning, and this was the most ancient city of learning. Let's find out more. A city of such age and honor. This city was of such age, meaning old, and honor, prestige. It was Abraham himself who founded the great city, Al-Bakar, the great most ancient city of learning. Founded the great city as a symbol of his covenant with Allah. This is what we have not been told due to not knowing our Moorish descent. And so here we is, number 7, Al-Bakar being the name given to the city. By whom? By Abraham. By Abraham on account of its first purpose and shape of the temple. Let's see Moors. Number 7 on the 7. We rise on the 7. Let's see what it says. A circular temple. There go your circle 7. The 7 was pointing us to the Sephah. The Sephah was pointing us to the Sufa. The Sufa is what give us the Sufian, the circle 7, Sufian, the Moorish Sufian is our whole title with our descent name and our ancient divine creed. What was this? A circular temple and a place of reckoning and respect of the cycle of the heavens. So this was a place of calculating. What they call it should be sounding like to you a little like astronomy, huh? Calculating, doing charts and charts of the moment, all this magnificence. Maybe it's looking like something that we do today, but this is where we get the gifts from. Because we're born in a certain descent line. And it was a place of respect of the cycle. So the cycles were respected. So we know those are the seasons and the moon cycles and the transits. 8, the constellations. The constellations. And the movement of the sun, the movement of the moon, and the movement of all celestial bodies. The first and most sacred temple in honor of Allah. So now when you hear all those temples talking about in the scripture, now you hearing the truth of the matter. All that comes from Abraham. This is our forefather. Our forefather is Abraham, starting with Abraham, who was the first to have a covenant with Allah. So this is where the Moorish forefathers start, is with Abraham. And this is the proof. Our forefather built the first and most sacred temple in honor of Allah. It was a great circular timepiece that through the light of the sun and the light of the moon did record time for thousands of years, using the shadow and shape of the temple called Ka-Baka, or the doorway of the spirit of Allah. Look at that beautifulness right there. We was tracking time without watches. We was tracking time without clocks before we was told about Ben, the big clock, Mr. Ben, Big Ben. We was tracking time thousands of years, telling us using the light of the sun and the light of the moon, using the shadow and the shape of the temple. And we find out the temple is circular, and the temple was called Kaaba, and it means the doorway of the spirit of Allah. Look how far this history go back. How long we've been disregarded with knowing this powerful knowledge. 11. While Al-Baqarah was a place, it was a place of ancient and great learning of numbers. There go your numerology of time. There go your physics and astronomy. There go your astrology of language. There go your speech of culture. There go your livelihood of history. There go yourself and learning. There go your increase, your improvement. All this was at Al-Baqarah, an ancient place where all this was taking place. So now we know this is where algebra, math, all this comes from that we said that black people was the inventors of. So this is the proof. Man, I hope I'm bringing some fire. I hope I'm bringing some fire. Number 12, a place, al-Bakar, a place where even the great priest of Yeb, Elephantine Island, the people of the Nile River, Nubia, Kush, did sometimes come for their studies. 13, to the descendants of Abraham and the city of Ur. You see that? They took our sacred name of our forefathers, one of city names, Ur, and they name a company Uber. And we wonder why all these companies are successful, because they pulling off our Moorish powers and knowledge, but they not the owners. So the knowledge was in plain sight, but we needed brave and courageous souls. So Allah sent prophets and angels to manifest in the flesh on behalf of righteousness and justice, to know that all shall know the truth and the divine truth, no matter if you want to look away and be ignorant to the revealing of it. We need to know, and especially those who seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. So the city of Uber, we're going to come and get more on that in this history of the timeline. Now, this place, the city of Uber, the place was believed the most. Let me start that over and make sure we clear now. The city of Uber was in the city of al-Bakar, where the Kaaba was. So to the descendants of Abraham, who is our forefather, and Abraham is the father of all religions when it says that Abraham is the father of all nations. We're talking about the dark-skinned people. We're talking about the descendants of Abraham, who is Marab. As you know, in biblical terms, Abram. When you put Abram in reverse, you got this ancient divine word of what Noble Drew Ali was pointing to and saying that we are Moorish, which is, you can't get more perfect than that. But we're going to come to it as we go line by line in the timeline. So now we at to the descendants of Abraham in the city of Ur. The place was believed to be the most important earthly symbol. Earthly symbol. Remember our earthly salvation and our divine salvation? Our earthly symbol of the first covenant and the closest doorway to heaven. Isn't that our divine salvation? Heaven? Isn't that our divine salvation? Let's continue and see what's more. While al-Bakar was for countless generations. Countless generations. It's like infinite. How long is countless? That's infinite. Generations, a place respected even by enemies of culture and knowledge. So we got to see what happened. This for countless generations. What happened? Uh-oh, we finna see. Let's see what's more. The false prophet. Remember what Jesus said? Many false prophets have gone into the world. See, this is new data, new information from the oldest source personally I have found and discovered from Allah's revelation. So as we go forward, 15, the false prophet of Syria. And no, Syria is connected with Damascus. No, the false prophet of Syria, known as Uthman, coveted it as a means of power and control. What is it? We're talking al-Bakr. Al-Bakr was coveted for a means of power and control by the false prophet of Syria, known as the Uthman. The Uthman. 16. Thus, the Uthman did take. That's why we don't take. We give, take. The Uthman did take the sacred city and falsely rename it Mecca. Wow. Fire bombs right there. Falsely rename al-Bakr Mecca. Mecca. So this is where you hear the term today saying, I'm going to Mecca. While we never heard this before, and only ancient source can give it to you so truthfully without you watering it down. So let's continue more. While no one who respects knowledge and the supernatural did ever dare to step into the realm of the Kaaba, Uthman and the Umayyad did desecrate this oldest and most sacred site of all Arabs. Now, this is where it's going to get good. Now, this is why you're going to see why the Prophet Noble Drew Ali didn't use the word Arab. He replaced Arab with the ancient name of the people of the heritage, which is very, very skillful, and you can only be gifted by the proficiency of Allah to have such beautiful presence and connection and to drive all this home at such a young age and to fulfill such a great duty and to have this as an understanding. And we're going to see, we're going to clear all this up. Arabs is not what you think it is. Arabs is the short version of saying more or morab. But we're going to get to it. I ain't gonna do too much of a spoiler right now. We're going to work our way line by line. But keep that in mind. Abraham is the father of the Arabs. All right. 18. What did the Uthman and the Umayyad do, the false prophet of Syria? Cursing the name of Allah by closing the doorway to heaven. Do you learn anything about stars? Do you learn anything about celestial? Do you learn anything about constellations? Do you learn anything about the soul? Just a mental note. These people, remember, they split into groups. If you've been watching the Sufas that's been dropped, we've been dropping heavy Sufas. 18. So this false prophet of Syria, known as Uthman, started cursing the name of Allah, closing the doorway to heaven by replacing a square room. This is where it get good. A square room upon the foundations of the ancient circular temple. And this how you know this to be factuated and documentable proof. And this is what people go to now when they go to Mecca is a square. And they call a Kaaba. So now we see why they call it Kaaba, where the true ancient Moorish name is Kaaba Ka. Oh, ooh, ooh, KOS. We one community. That means we one family. We one. We got one deity. Oh, let's go. So we see why not a square is prominent in every construction or everything when it comes to even your trestle board is square. So any respect due to its ancient knowledge knows about the circular because the timepiece is circular. So we're going to keep going. See what else we can find out more. 19. Thus, the altar of the ancients between heaven and earth since the time of the first civilizations. So this is crediting right now, dropping it like it's hot. This has been around since the first civilizations and so fitting in an honorable place of worship of Allah. That place is so old, older than they are telling us. This is the first covenant where we know the more exists. Now we got the true knowledge of the more exists. This is why Noble Drew Ali went over there. This is one of the most ancient places where we know we talking about. All right, let's keep going. Now, a place destroyed and defiled by the Sabians. This is why we not Sabians, we are Moorish. The Sabians are the one who destroyed the Moorish site, the most ancient altar, the Kaaba. The Sabians destroyed the Kaaba and defiled the Kaaba. And the Umayyad, that's like the military, under Uthman with no respect to history, ancient history, Moorish history, when we say ancient, and merely in pursuit of power and wealth. So you know that had to look like such a prestige filled with gold. That's just like Abraham was saying. It looked like we could only imagine, but we know it was because of what it is now. You don't do that without it being something glorified. So the truth must be revealed. Let's keep going more. 21. Not only a pile of rocks in worship of the moon goddess of the Umayyad and a symbol of the worship of ignorance. So now what they call in the black stone in the Kaaba is only a pile of rocks in worship of the moon goddess of the people who destroyed the Sabians, who destroyed the Kaaba. And it's also Mecca is a symbol of the worship of ignorance. Got a pile of rocks that they call black or a meteorite. They say fell. Yah, the Uthman, the Sabians, the false prophet of Syria. Let's keep going more. 22. To curse the great city of learning. Uthman now called it Mecca. Mecca. And erected a square temple to his moon goddess upon the ruins of the most sacred circular altar of Allah. So this is the power that was needed for the Moors to finally be free of their Moorish forefathers. The belief is now an awareness. This is the pinnacle of wisdom. KOS community. The moon goddess, you know, this is where you get your false gods and lesser gods and demons and spirits, where you get the word alat. See, and so all these things, they come into play. Just keep your awareness open. This is the wisdom from Allah. This is what is the Sufyan is telling us. It's the awareness. This is what Allah, what Noble Drew Ali was telling us, that Allah in man. The Allah in man, that Allah is the awareness. This is the wisdom that was speaking on, that was given us as the wisdom, will, and love. That's the wisdom, will, and love, is awareness. So now look what this awareness do to prove to you. Now I bet now that you're aware, you will do what is right. And you won't see Mecca as the same. That's how powerful wisdom is of Allah, meaning Allah. 23. Yet the false prophet, Uthman, is not the only one to be held account for this most grave sacrilege, but the people who now celebrate as the city of Mecca. Oh, I'm glad. See, and this is what we're starting to find out. What you think Malcolm was here need to be corrected. This is going down. And this is the story that has been hidden. And now the knowledge is revealed by the great God, Allah. KOS community. We KOSing. Now let's get some more. For Mecca did not fall in war, nor did not fall in siege. The city of Mecca was formed through treachery and dishonor. Through treachery and dishonor, how the city of Mecca was formed. Treachery and dishonor against Allah. The people of Mecca did turn their back on the divine creator and invite, come on, Uthman and the Umayyad to come, of Allah. 27. The people of Mecca still serve darkness by willingly and his ignorance. Yet Allah is more than stone, is more than a city. The Christians build great temples to their belief, hoping this will instill favor with the divine creator. Uh-oh, you see that? Divine creator. See, that's something you haven't heard, to show you more of the ancient divine creed, our divine creator, who is Allah. That's what the Christians did. Let's read about the maniacs. The maniacs build elaborate temples in the hope that it will be pleasing to the dark forces in their hatred of Allah. Look at these. The Christians and the maniacs. Ooh, these are you who you calling? Oh, we should already be putting it on. We know the Sabians. Okay. This is ancient sourcing. See, they put a sorcerer. This is what's been going down. Been misinformed about this ancient history to know what's really going on. 31, it says, yet, what is the most sacred to Allah? Question mark. Let's get to it. Allah is every stone. Allah is every piece of marble. Allah is of earth. Allah is every living thing. Earthly and divine salvation. The earth is already the greatest temple to Allah. So you're longer upon the earth land that the Lord thy God, Allah, have given you, me, us. This is the gift the Moors left behind. 34. Allah is in the space of things. It is in the space of things that we find the most pure form of mind of Allah. Oh, this is so breaking it down to us. This is Master Abel Noble. Okay, it is in the space of things that we find the most pure form of mind of Allah. In the air is where we find Allah. In the breath, man, the great divine creator breathed into man, Master Allah's nature, and he became a living soul. The greatest roof are the stars. The greatest light is the sun and the moon. The greatest temple, therefore, is one that respects the space, that sees the stars, that allows the moon and the sun. Fatiha, Fatiha, Allah, Fatiha. It just broke it down to us. Now we are fully in knowing of what is most sacred to Allah. And we have went over in other sufas what sacred means. Sacred means divine. See, ain't nothing secret. This is what's been secret because in his telling you what's sacred. So we must understand the timeline of the Moorish prophets. Thus the people of Yah dishonor Allah. I know you would be like, who is the people Yathil? Because these people would rather die than dishonor Allah. And this is what kept us around. This is what kept this around so we can have and have and have. 40. The people of Yathrib refused to yield to the forces of the Umayyad and Uthman. They refused to yield. The people of Yathrib. Who is the people of Yathrib? Thus Allah bestows upon them the honor as being Medina. Medina is the people of Yathrib. Medina, and Medina being the new city of light. Here shall be the place of the new covenant with Allah. Now, this ain't even hardly said in the communities. We have heard of the word Medina, but this is the new city of light. This is where the new covenant is at. But they keep pointing to Mecca. So we think Allah gonna have disrespect and not have honor and respect in another? Come on, life wouldn't be balanced. Life would be less. So this is where we understand where all have not been said. So as we moving through, that should be a great collection of newfound knowledge of self. So we're going to keep moving forward. Just keep bearing with me. And peace and love. Heart signs, heart emojis. Keep going. Throw your love. Let's see your love, your heart emojis and everything, because this is love coming from knowledge of self. This is what it was mean for our people. Now let's get into some more. Sufa. We got Sufa 67. There, we heard of that word in our preview. Uber. So Uber. This is what you hear in the Bible as the land of Ur. So now take the land of Ur, and this is the real or the Moorish name of the land of Ur. This is why you can't find it. Is Ub-Ur is the ancient name. Ub-Ur. Let's go. One, O people, there is no other deity but Allah. Remember, this is an ancient city. This is where you get words like suburb, suburb, or urban. Just things like this now. Just pay attention. Number three, all praise and worship be to Allah and no other. The compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the first city known as Uber. So now you see why they call your city the suburb. All right, don't think these people don't know the history that they've been hiding from us while they've been in behind closed walls and at angles studying our Moorish wisdom. Number five, Ur is the birthplace of Abraham. Uber is the birthplace of Abraham. The birthplace of Abraham. The founding of the people now known as Arabs. If we catching it, it's gonna get even more. The founding of the people now known as Arabs, the ancient city Uber, Arabs, Abraham. So I'll keep this in mind. Let not the ignorance scribe speak of ancient time they know not. You ain't heard of this from no writer, especially in the Bible. The land of Ur, this is what they would have put if they were truthful, land of Ubur. Burr, yeah, Burr. Okay, let's go. Americans. We talking about more Americans. Fathers in our descent of now known as the Arabs. Now keep that in mind. 8. Nor the king nor emperor speak of generations they cannot name in succession. They don't know nothing about this. This is way past their time right here. This is what give us divine birthrights. Divine birthrights. This is divine birthrights. 9. The generations of such things. Why? Before the age of Sargon, before the age of Uruk, before even the age of the four great rivers, the Christians called the Pison, the Tigris, the Euphrates, and the Gihon. Before all of this, we talking about the birthplace of Abraham existed. The lands of south of Arabia were lush, green, and full of life. Sahara green, the green Sahara, baby. While men had plenty to eat and drink, they did not respect life. They did not or any law of Allah. And so this is what Abraham was witnessing. They did not respect life or any law of Allah. Plenty to eat and drink, food, shelter, clothing. Instead, like animals, these preyed upon one another, kind of looking like today in America. Until one day, the great man known as Abraham was born. So people was upon one another until the great man known as Abraham was born. Abraham was born. We in the birthplace of Abraham now. Now, Allah spoke to Abraham and told Abraham to build a great city on the, there go your Morab River, that did once travel in the, this Abraham. Abraham is Arabia, and the city of Ur was built on the Morab 17 with guidance from Allah, just as the guidance from Allah to receive this sacred way, this sacred gift. With guidance from Allah, Abraham gave the people their first law. We talk about with guidance from Allah, my guidance, my God, my protector, my salvation, day and night. With guidance from Allah, now we know specific gave the people the first. You know how to put Abraham the Hebrew is Abraham the Moor or Abraham the Moorish. The Morab, as we're going to see, as it's spelled there, keep that in mind. Mahrab. So Jesus was a Moor. Jesus was a prophet sent by Allah, just like all prophets are sent by Allah. Now we know why, because they of Abraham. And Abraham is Moorish, and all Moors was the first to represent as Abraham the covenant with Allah. So Allah's covenant has never been broken, just as the rainbow shows the evidence of the covenant. Remember, the greatest roof are the stars. But the people rebelled against the. Remember that story. Now you're getting it in depth. Okay, these people rebelled against Abraham. Okay, so why? By sacrificing children and animals to pagan gods. So before Abraham the Moor was on the scene, people were sacrificing children and animals to pagan gods. This is uncivilized. 19. So Allah instructed, we law cannot be written or created, that it has to be instructed by divine grace, by the divine creator. So Allah instructed Abraham at the site of Al-Bakar to bring knowledge to the world, to bring knowledge to the world, and to use the sap of the frankincense plant as an acceptable offering instead of the smell of burnt flesh of sacrificed children. Now you can say amen to Abraham. Amen to Abraham. Allah, Abraham. Thank you for Abraham. Thus, Abraham is the father. Well, it tells you in the Bible of all nations, Abraham is the father of all of Arabia and the East. And now remember the East being the starting point of all first civilizations. The father of all of Arabia and the East. So we talking about Abraham is the father of all of the Moors. This is why the prophet tells us in quick recap for the 7. Check this out. Chapter 47, Number 2 and 3. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. So we know that's the land of Ur. That's the land of Uber. This is what it is. And then 3 tell us now his father Ham. Who is Ham? Abraham. His father Ham, right there. Abba, father, father Ham. This is what we understanding. So now Abraham is the father of all Arabia and the East. Not no Middle East, the East. The whole Eastern East. The teacher's been telling you. So now we should have a great collection. We have had some teachers come through. So now we should know more. Now we're finna get into Abraham. And you can send your heart emojis and your love, because this is going down. Oh, yes. And we'll take a break in about 10 minutes. We'll take a break. But let's get to maybe after this one. Let's see. Sufa 68. Now let's get back on the timeline of the Moorish prophets. Abraham. So we have learned about the true name of Mecca. I hope y'all repeating that. Al-Bakar. From Al-Bakar, we done learned the land, the true name of the land of Ur. And what was special about the land of Ur, that's where Abraham was born. Abraham is the first to make a covenant with the law and to stop sacrificing children and animals to pagan gods. It's a lot been going on. Abraham is the father of all Arabia and the East. And not just the Middle East, the East. So now we at Abraham himself. So 1, O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All glory and honor be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the great prophet Abraham. What did it say a prophet was? A thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. The great prophet Abraham. May honor and peace be forever upon his name and memory. He, Abraham, is the first to honor the covenant of Allah, to seize the practice of sacrifice of and the sacrifice of children. People was practicing this, y'all. Abraham, is the bringer of divine law. This is the law that was given, called the law, the first law given to the civilization. Divine law is Abraham's law. Abraham is the bringer of divine law and civilization. Civilization belongs to Abraham when it comes to civilization to the lands. Truly, if one honors the memory of Abraham and all his descendants, then honor the covenant, then honor the law, then honor the way, which we know the way is what? All Sufyan. Then honor the All Sufyan of Islam. And there we have our ancient and divine creed. Did it not say these are the ancient people? Okay. Number 9, reject. This is what we do. Reject the wicked practice of sacrificing animals and children, any living being. Do not waste that which Allah has granted to you as food. That's what the people of were doing. Just plenty to eat and drink, worshiping pagan gods, having no sense of moral character. 11. Reject the corruption of divine law. Reject the corruption of divine law and honor al Sufyan of Islam. Honor the al Sufyan of Islam. This is the, and more importantly, this is the American way. 2. Civilization was 610. 610 come before 1492, and 610 come before 1611. It was not. 12. The sacred smoke. Remember, we just read the sacred smoke of the altar of Al-Baqarah was to replace the wicked ways of the ancients. The sacred smoke was to replace the wicked ways of the ancient. No more smelling burnt flesh. You smell the incense. So when you read in the Bible about the incense and the smoke, this is what is referring to as an ancient practice that was established by Abraham. 13. The sacred incense of the ancient lands of the Moorish people. This is why Jesus was called Rabbi or Rabbi, Master, Rabbi. He was of the people of the Moor. The sacred incense of the ancient lands. Remember, we were just reading about the ancient lands. So this is very important. The ancient lands, when they mention it, so they was at least mention to keep a little semblance, so they wouldn't forget which way to go. But now we have the whole Shabaka stone, let's say. The Moorab people, so there go your Moorish people. The ancient name of the Moorish, who was told by Noble Drew Ali that we need to return to Islam. Which was founded by our forefathers. So Abraham founded what we talking about, what Noble Drew Ali brought us as our ancient and divine creed, and to learn about our forefathers' descent. Because who we are cannot be changed without a contradiction, baby. Let's keep this getting juicy. The sense of the ancient lands of the Moor people, given by Allah unto Abraham. Given by Allah unto Abraham. That sacred incense was to end the ways of sacrifice of animals, sacred smoke, as covenant with Abraham. Allah is pleased by the sacred smoke as this respects his covenant with Abraham. Now that frankincense is what we're talking about here, love. So with the whole saying of sage and all that, our way is frankincense. This is why Jesus was brought what? 3 gifts. Frankincense, myrrh, and gold. So we understand those was the 3 of understandings. Understanding those were the Moorish people. The three wise men was the three wise Moors, the three Moorish men. 16. No greater injury can be done to Islam than to kill an innocent animal. To kill an innocent animal or to kill another in the name of the Creator. Oh, this is, and this is still if we don't have the the true way of Islam. 17. Only the most ignorant and disrespectful to the Creator of all things continue in the sacrifice of animals and children. Thus, the Persians who hate Allah and who hate all of creation, we know these the Sabians, these prophet of Syria, these and hate all of creation. And they do still practice the sacrifice of animals and young children. And they do it for power and control. Sound like the same thing as the Uthman, the Sabian. Same people. The people of Mecca. Knowing not the true origin. Now the whole world is lost from this right here. 20. Nor the true name or nature of the demons to which. See, these people know not what they do, as it's saying their father was a sinner from the beginning. This is all true knowledge. This is what took so long. Been retrieved to y'all. To do not therefore be tricked by the Persian. Therefore, do not be tricked by the Persian upon the sacrifice of animals and the honor. We don't want to be tricked by the Persian upon the sacrifice of animals. And we want to honor the name of Abraham in respecting the sacred smoke. In respecting the sacred smoke. What is the sacred smoke? Rob, the Moors, the frankincense, the Al-Dukan. The frankincense, we call it Al-Dukan. Only the Moors, that was part of the cannabis trade and the frankincense trade. That was a big trade of ours, the Silk Roads. All this comes all together. Oh, that was a good one. How many we cover? 1, 2, and 3. So we have did a good little collection. You should know more about Abraham now than you ever have before. And this is tremendous right here. So we're going to take a little, maybe
I'm transcending. Are you coming along, going with me? I'm looking for who doesn't want a better life.
Thank you, thank you. We return after a short intermission. Please, this is for the people. Like, share, and subscribe for the people. Again, this is for the people. All the people. Like, share, and subscribe. The truth is here now. So let's continue from the power from Allah, sent to us by Noble Drew Ali. So we just learned about our forefather, Abraham. And so we just got a lot of good knowledge of self concerning Abraham now. So now we're going to move towards Babylon. We have heard of this word Babylon, and so, or the word Babel. So now, well, we got Babylon and we got Babel, or Bob, L. So understand, Sufa 69. One, O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the gracious. All prayers and homage be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be now revealed. Babel. At the later date, I book from the Babel. So number 5, upon the great peril and conflict against the Marab people. So against the ancient people, against Abraham people, there was a conflict against Abraham people. It was Sargon who led an army out of the wilderness of Arabia to defeat first the forces of separate cities, the cities of Sumerians. The great city of Eridu was captured, and the land of Mesopotamia and Tigris were conquered. Remember, we on the timeline. The court of Eridu settled upon a new city they called Mari. So this is where you get the word Mary from. Jesus being born from Mary. The court of Eridu settled upon a new city they called Mary. Upon the death of Sargon, they attacked the south. Babel was formed, their new capital. They formed Babel as their new capital. The people who brought the conflict and the great danger against Abraham. They formed Babel as their new capital. And yet these men of Babel, with all their wisdom, refused to honor. Honor here. We're dealing with honor. What's the main thing in contract? Honor. Refused to honor one creator. Instead, they regarded themselves as above all men, as the priests of all priests. This is Babel. The priests of all priests. This is how they regarded themselves. Haughtiness and their arrogance. They became the architects of religion. So now and come from Babylon or Babel, the men of Babel, the priests of Babel. These are the people who became the architects of religion. They formed the stories that we read in here. They formed the texts that we read in here, which found their way to all quarters of the world of history. Have they not? Like we say, we got a book from them Bible, same thing, same words, same book, same text, same stories. When the lands were ruined, the priests of Babel seized control and formed the religion of Mithra. These people formed the religion of Mithra. Myth, okay? The myths, Babylon. See, we speaking about something very particular here. Now you getting the gist. Then again, under the terrible reign of the Aryan princes, under the terrible reign of the Aryan princes, this is where Babylon formed the religion of Manes. Thus, the poison of the world begins. Poison of the world begins from Babel. Babel. The falsity of the world from Babel. The confusion and the curse of the world begins from Babel. Though its walls have been taken and its scribes silenced, talking about Babel, Babel still calls to corrupt and destroy through the alliance Uthman and the scholar of the Manes. Babylon come out of her. Believe nothing which has come from this terrible city, for it is indeed hatred of the divine, for it is seated in hatred of the divine and filled with arrogant priests who see themselves as gods amongst men. Now we have the history, the timeline of Babel and when the Babel come into play. So now, who did Babel attack? Who did the Babel attack? Number 5, the conflict against the Moab people. The Moab. So when we say the Moab or the Moor, this is what we're referring to, Sufa 70. Moab, Moor, 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 Moor. And so now, just different ways that we have learned, and as we did it, we know Arab. So this is where we finna get some understanding here. You take the M off of Rob, you got Rob. All right. Or Arab, as we would say. 1, O you who believe, let it say, all do come. 2, the sacred smoke. 3, the 54th name of Allah, the one, the absolute, the almighty. We must all of why the Moors was left out. The Moors is a name of Allah. And the name is sacred. And Ra being the 54th name of Allah, representing the ancient covenant. And so that sacred smoke, we know what the sacred smoke is, the people. See, and we use frankincense to honor that covenant with Abraham. But that sacred or divine is the Moors. And we see the Moors have these represent the people. Remember the most ancient land. So the most ancient land got to hold the most ancient people. So now we talking about the most ancient people known as Moral. Moral. And the Arab to Romans and Christians. So now this tells us that this is the people, and these people are the most ancient. So the most meaning the greatest. It don't get no higher than the most ancient people known as Moors, but to the Arab, to the Romans and Christians. So there go the evidence. They changed, took off a letter and called us. Don't they always mess up our names to this day? If you got a powerful name, don't they mess your name up? This right here. Arabs is not what we think. In truth, Arabs are Moors. Put the M in front of Arab and you got what we are. The Moral, the Arab, the Marib, the Moral, Araba, the Araba. That's why you hear Arabia, Morabia. So to the Romans and the Christians, the Moors was called Arab, rabbi. See where you get the word a rabbi. Them priests, if you read above, priests, but as clearer and clearer. Now about the moral. 5, the first civilization. Abba was the first civilization and the bringer of knowledge. Remember, Abraham was the bringer of knowledge to the world, the bringer of knowledge, wealth to what we call Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Syria. They brought wealth to these places from the ancient land. These are the people of the great forests, the people of the great lakes, the people who conquered the seasons, the people who were masters, architecture, and science. Moraba, these be the people and the heritage of the Arab people. The Morabia, the Moria, the Moraba, like it said on the Morab River. So these be the people and the heritage of the Arab people. This is what the prophet of the Bedouin is in their remembrance of the Moors. Bedouin, the Zoroastrians, in another word. 9, as civilization begins in these lands and mountains. Civilization began in these lands and mountains. So this is the birthplace of the great Moors, who forefather is Abraham. And so Abraham, as you see, is the father of all Arabia in the east. So Sufa 71, Moses. Let's see who Moses. Musa. Moses, O people, no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All petition and thanks be to Allah, no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the great prophet Moses. Now we're finna get into the great prophet Moses, y'all. Let's see what we got more. May honor and peace be forever memory. Known as Akhenaten, who saved the people of Egypt from the plagues. The most powerful and wealthiest man in the world of his time, who jeopardized his own dynasty to follow the commands of Allah. The Pharaoh of Egypt, Moses, also known as Akhenaten, who was cursed by the superstitious Egyptians for daring to recognize Allah by a different name. The exiled Pharaoh, who was betrayed by his own people, who chose the manes of the swamp to make king, and worship animal and human sacrifice under the symbol of the ram. And what's ain't that's against Abraham? That's against Abraham. And this is what the manes do. The same people of Babylon. The exiled Pharaoh who with survivors built a city of knowledge upon the Syrian coast. Now Moses, they built a city of knowledge upon the Syrian coast and disavowed Moses' name to be called Moses as the rock of Allah. This is what they chose. So let's see, who was the Moses saved? Okay, Sufa 72, the Yahuda. Let's get into the history. The Yahuda. All Yahuda. Oh, people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All praise and worship be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the Yahud. 5. The Yahuda are the followers of Allah by the different name known as Yahuwah. The name given to Allah are those that to Moses upon the founder at the city of of Syria upon the coast, the former tribes of court of Moses when he was once Pharaoh, being the tribes of scribes, tribes of priests, tribes of astrologers, tribes of doctors, tribes of builders and architects, tribes of inspectors and tax collectors. The followers of Allah who became feared throughout the ancient world for having survived the plagues, and so believed to possess supernatural powers. The prisoners captured Egyptian kings after the death of Moses and returned to Egypt as slaves believed to possess magic powers. All the tombs for the many as the false pharaoh of the realms, while their children were sacrificed for their blood against divine law. The people who lost their faith in Allah and cursed all gods, and who, upon gaining their freedom, talking about the Yahuda, the people who lost their faith in Allah, split into groups with form worship lesser gods, lesser demons, and lesser spirits called jinns. So let's get to it. The people taken captive by the king of Babylon. The Yahuda was captive by the king of Babylon, only to be freed by the Persians. The Yahuda was freed by the Persians, who then chose to defy the will of Allah in the formation of the pagan abomination of Mithra. They went straight into worshiping Mithra. Went straight into worshiping lesser. The people who still in part to this day refuse to return to Allah at the destruction of the temple by the Nazarenes, followers of Jesus, who then formed the horrible heresy of mania. In following the Manes, and what they did, the Manes did, claimed duality of the universe. Babylon is poison. Poison starts at Babylon. These people went crazy, and this is why you see the word mania or maniac. So once upon a time, you see the history of the timeline of the Moorish prophets coming through. Sufa 73, we heard of the prophet Jeremiah. Let's learn about Jeremiah. O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All glory and honor be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the great prophet Jeremiah. May honor and peace be forever upon his name and his memory. The high priest of Yale, Elephantine Island. Jeremiah was the high priest of Yale, Elephantine Island. Jeremiah was the friend of righteousness and truth. Jeremiah is the messenger commanded by Allah to warn the Yahudah of their doom. Jeremiah is the custodian of the symbols of the Messiah kings. 10. Jeremiah is who returned the symbols to the holy priests. The messenger, the law of Allah. It's the Torah. We was told Moses brought the Torah. See, we got a different story with Moses when we follow the timeline. We don't got the Bible or the Bible source date that even predates the 1611 King James Version Bible. More, and now we see why the prophet Jeremiah. So the beneficent, the gracious, you won't get around this. All prayers and homage be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning who are the Persians. The Persians are people who boast of their antiquity, but know nothing of history. The Persians are those who some call the Chaldeans. The Persians are those who some call the Aryans. The Persians are some who call the Mithrians. The Persians are the ones so-called the Judeans. These Persians, these are heroes. The ram, Mithra, exiles of Egypt that found sanctuary in the swamps of the Chaldeans. The pirates and merchants that formed an alliance against Allah with the Yahudah. So the Yahudah and the Persians have teamed up with the Yahudah held as slaves by the Babylonians. We see this? The kings that ruled worshiping darkness and black magic. Persian kings. the Babylonian kings. The Persian is who that ruled, cursing all the name of Allah. The Persians are the founders of the false religion of Mithra, the rulers under Darius that created the false scriptures of Mithra. The Persians, the Chaldeans, the Aryans, the Judeans are the founders of the false religion of Judaism. As Lucifer, these people are insane and join the alliance with the Yahuda and the Persians. I'm glad we got the timeline. So these people created Judaism. What we hear today, Judaism, is Mithraism, is the Persians, and they worship Rome. Rome emperor as Lucifer. The Roman emperor as Lucifer. The emperor Vespasian and Josephus, son of Mithra priest Matthias, being the founders of the false scripture, the unholy Septuaginta. So there you go, the New Testament. Who murdered Jesus? Rome. Up to Rome, the Jews. Who are the Jews? Who are the Persians? And what's their religion? Judaism. The emperor, the Roman emperor Vespasian, who was playing Lucifer, this is what the New Testament represents. New Testament, the Septuaginta of the Bible or the Babel, is all what's being exposed on the timeline. 17. The founders of the false religion of Menes and the wicked corruptions of the Talmud. So if you heard of the Talmud, these are the people who founded the Talmud. So they've been architecting religion since Babylon. And you see, this is why they talking about and came out with the Loki. We got the time variables. They know the timeline is short. So they're trying to come through and make some new things happen on the timeline. But they false scriptures won't work any longer. The All Sufyan is here. 18. The creation of a faith of darkness, death, and worship of demons under Ard the Shah, and then his grandson Baba Ra. Persia and Babylon be the birthplace of unspeakable evil because of the evil inflicted upon them by pharaohs of the realm. The abused became the abuser, the victims the oppressor. Greater hatred against the divine. Life be the madness of the scribes of hate in Babylon. No men so affected by addiction, lighthead, and drunkenness have written such filth against moral law. There you go, code, moral law, the Moorish Codex, moral law in the insane Babylon, churches and the Umayyad, and those seen as possessing special powers. Who we talking about? These same Persians. Is those seen as possessing special powers, once again rally the poor, rally the fearful, and rally the ignorant to do their Persian bidding. This is the stuff we're not being told, community. And so we must continue on. And just for the sake of knowing and having knowledge of self. We heard the word Jerusalem. We might, O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious, all petitioning and no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning Jerusalem. Jerusalem is that most sacred city to the Yahuda. We know the Yahuda is no longer in alliance with Allah, the divine creator of all existence. So Jerusalem is the most sacred city to Yahuda. Mithraeans of Persia and the Mithraeans of Rome. And now, Jerusalem now is sacred city. Second false religion of Persia and the Manes. Man, Persia and the Romans is what it's saying. Persians and the Romans. Remember the Chaldeans, the Myth-Aryans. Jerusalem is the second false religion of the Mithraeans and the Romans, Romanes, who the Christians call the maniacs. The Christians call these people the maniacs on account of their madness and their ignorance. The ignorant and fanatical that follow the false Mithraean scriptures known as the Mishnah and the Talmud. Jerusalem is a city bathed in victims, sacrificed to demons and leaders who cursed Allah. A city of deep evil and division. Jerusalem is the second Babel, the beloved of the Aryans, the Mithraeans, the Persians, the Chaldeans. Thus, Christians revere the city for the prophet Jesus. Thus, Christians revere the city. His was a mission to end the madness of Jerusalem, city of blood. It was Jerusalem that Constantine cleansed of his history in making Jerusalem most sacred to Christians. Yet a true Muslim, a Sufyan, never forgets the history of this place, nor is tricked by the lies and blood that is still printed upon its streets. Better a man worship a cloud than say one prayer to Jerusalem. Verily, any man Mithraeans, the Jews, to worship is not a Sufyan. As a Sufyan knows, Allah will never revere a place sacred to the Jews, Chaldeans, Persians, Mithraeans. Only a man ignorant of the will of Allah would accept such a lie. And that's been us right there. We've been leading up centuries to millennia of not knowing because of us being destroyed for a lack of knowledge of self. And what the great prophet said, all this relates to Noble Drew Ali and the timeline of the Moorish prophets. Oh yeah, was such a lie. Let's pull up these facts. Here you go right here, number 17. That is why the identity of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774. We reading a text from 610, and this is 1774. And the word Negro, black, and color was given to the Asiatics of America. Now we know that's Arabia of America, the Moravia of America, Moab or Moabi, Moabi. Okay, we keep it going. Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent. Moorish descent because they honor not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods, the pagan gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. Of whom they knew nothing. Through sin and disobedience, every people have suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers. Now we see why you will accept such a lie. If you don't know who your forefathers are, you will accept such a lie. So let's keep moving forward. We're bringing it to a good closure. Sufa 76. Now we get into Rome, also known as Ruma. O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. So we done got the Persians and the Romans. Let's go. All praise and worship be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be revealed concerning that city of ghosts. Remember, when they said, or when it's told about ether and the sixth ether turns into ghosts. Well, this is the city of Rome. Rome is a city born from treachery and blood. A city, Rome, from which a great and terrible force did spring, only to be consumed itself by its own perfidy and hatred of Allah. Lo, behold, the once mighty center of the world in ruins by the hand of its own northern legions. See, we all know where the other people come from. They come from the north, where it's cold. These are the regions, but let's get to it. Let it be said, do not forget the lesson of Rome. So where is Rome? Whereas Philadelphia, Ravenna, commands the north and the center of the land of Italy. Italy, Rome is Italy. The Sabia and the Umayyad are Roman Italy, such history. They speak of the ruins as if or Persian kings. Yet the Persians never forget. See, the Mecca people don't know about this history of the Roman people. See, these people ain't the original people. Who we've been calling Arabs is not Moors. Those are Persians and Sabians. So now we understanding these are different people, but they colliding together, and we finna see more. Behold, for Persia did stretch out its tentacles and suffocate the rule of just men, like always in Babylonians, that poisonous scribes and greedy merchants might claim some false right to the land and the people. and the resources. Verily, this is the truth of the proud birth of Rome. This has been since abandoned mere ruins for more than 7 generations. Rome has been abandoned and in mere ruins for more than 7 generations. It be Rome be the sea peoples. Italy be the sea peoples of the island of Greece. Italy, Rome be the sea peoples of the island of Greece. They call Atlantis. Now we get why Alexander, uh, they say the Greek. Do we see now? Did it connect? Rome be the sea peoples of the island of Greece, meaning the magical horse who created Rome. These be most ancient descendants of the Yahuda. Rome, Italy be the ancient descendants of the Yahuda people. The Persians who came to the island, the Romans called Pegasus, after the fall of Urgarit to the Egyptians. 2 cities Rome did build. The first they called Sum-Er, which the Greeks call Chaldees. See how the Romans and the Persians became? Which the Greeks called Chaldees, but which the Romans called Remus. Remus, y'all, the city upon the island of Atlantis, Greece, the Yahuda called Salamer, which the Greeks called Etria, and the Romans called Romulus. All this going down on Atlantis, Rome, Italy. Let's go. These the northern legions. Upon the time of Jeremiah, remember we just covered Jeremiah. On that timeline of Jeremiah, the great uniting of under the law of Torah as a new covenant, the Yahuda, the Persians refused to unite, and instead they fought against the Hebrew tribes. Instead, they fought against the tribes. So now to the Persians, the men of Atlantis, Hebrew tribes, and with the might of did conquer Italy, southern Italy, and founded a new city they first called Satan. These people, the Romans, came, as you see, and began to fight one another, the Persians and the Rome. Rome being Hebrew, one who crossed over the waters, the sea people, to the Persians. We know now. We move to another point. Then upon the might of Xerxes, the men of Atlantis did rename their city Rome. Why? As a curse against the Hebrew. As a curse against the Hebrew. The law of Torah and the one true divine creator. This what the men of Atlantis. the descendants of Yahudah. Alexander, that word, uh, the Greek, the Atlanteans. Men of Atlantis swore hatred against the Romans, swore against heaven to destroy all culture. So where there be harmony, the men of the city of Satan, still talking about the same people, Romans, brought bloodshed and war. 29 many generations and wars did pass, with the Romans true to their curse, conquering the world and bringing only misery and bloodshed, until Allah saw fit to bring people after plague upon the Romans, bring plague after plague upon the Romans, until they were fearful in their hubris. Thus the scorpions fell upon each other, with each Roman house killing the other. Roman brother against Roman brother, son against father, mother against child, till Roman was in turmoil. Then where did we hear that at? Son against father, daughter against Roman. One by one, the superstitions, the myths, and the false magic of the Romans failed. The false Persian religion of Mithra, to whom all the legions swore, was destroyed upon the destruction of the temple of Mithra at Jerusalem by the Nazarenes. There we got it. The false Persian religion, Emperor Vespasian made himself Savior, Lucifer, and Lucifer made himself Savior, and the light bringer failed upon the destruction of Heliopolis. Timeline shifts even upon the arrival of Constantine. The families could not control themselves, killing their own great Holy Emperor. Thus destroyed itself. It devoured itself until, in the end, the legions of Christian Rome from Antioch swept down in North Africa. Families did escape to hide and plot their revenge. 39. Now these have become the merchants, the corporations, and the cheats that seek to corrupt wisdom of the people of the Moors. Abraham. These once noble families have become robbers to try and gain the frankincense trade, the Moorish trade. This is the story of Rome. Big history right there. So you can take this and play it back and go over this study. This is the timeline of the Moorish prophet from 610 to evermore. Evermore. Now we move into Joseph. We heard of Joseph. So let's go Joseph. Super 77, Yusuf. Joseph. People, there's no other deity but compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All glory and honor be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the great prophet and king Joseph. And may honor and peace be forever upon his name and his memory. The Holy King, who sought to end the evil of the Persians. The sacred king who refused the might of Mithra. Go ahead. A beloved of Allah and a beloved of all true men. Praise be to great prophet and king Joseph, the Holly King. That's where you get the word Hollywood. It's all in the forefathers known as Abraham. Sufa 78, we come to Jesus. Esau, one, O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All prayers and homage be to Allah, and no be now revealed concerning the great prophet Jesus. May honor and peace be forever upon his name and his memory. The Christians call this great teacher Jesus, while the hero Jesus. The Nazarenes called their leader Yahshua. The great prophet is all of these names. Verily, Yahshua was a son of man, of the line of prophets. Jesus is, yet he is not a deity. Thus, Christians who worship Jesus Christ as a God, this is against the teaching of Allah. No man may be raised up as a God amongst men. No man, even a prophet, may be greater or lesser. All religion does not teach prophets as gods. And this is what the state of mind of our ancient forefathers and foremothers, our Moorish prophet, was telling us. See, we don't respect prophets as gods. It's only one deity. And all prophets is that great prophet that led us to the great creator, the divine creator. Move to Antioch. We heard of that word Antioch. So Antiochia. O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All praise and worship be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning Antioch. Antioch is the great city founded by Constantine. Antioch is the site of Christianity, the most sacred city of Christianity. Beautiful Antioch, home of the great temple of Hagia Sophia, is the jewel and the magnificent city on the crossroads of Asia. They go to Asiatic connection. 10. Whereas once Antioch was a beacon of hope for the world, Antioch have now become all that is wrong with civils. Fearful and isolated, Antioch do not appoint moral men to their provinces, but men of character and deep pockets, family fortunes. Antioch, you have lost your way. Oh, that's like Acts right now. We moving all through the timeline. That's what they quote the in Antioch and Acts. So let's get to the Christians now. Hey, the Christians, Messiah. O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All petition and thanks be to Allah and no other. Behold, in what they have become. At first, the Christian was one who followed the teachings of Jesus. They called Christ. The Christians were to live with the same honor and virtue of the way, the Al Sufyan of Islam. And that's what makes it make sense. Islam. Isa is Jesus, and Jesus is Isa. So Islam is the way of Jesus. So Christians, what it says, Christians were to live with the same honor and the same virtue of the way of Islam. That one might have used the word Islam or Christian as one and the same. True Christians were sworn to respect all faiths and do no harm. The true Christians were sworn to honor spirit and divine law. So we know that word true is Sufyan. So Sufyan Christians will honor their word. Sufyan Christians were sworn to honor spirit and to honor divine law that comes from Abraham. Now, many Christians put all their faith in supernatural objects and remains. Christians place greater focus on magic than on meaning. Their rituals are unthinking and mandatory. Their leaders confuse and hide knowledge. Christianity is a religion ruled by intolerant men of questionable wisdom. Christianity is a faith that no longer follows its own truths. Christianity defiles the name of Jesus, the other prophets. Christian morals destroy heritage because they know not its value. A man should not be judged if he professes his faith. Christian. No man may be compelled to change his faith, nor should Christians be regarded as evil, nor do not harm or touch a Christian temple or a Christian to destroy and or damage a Christian shrine or text is one of the greatest transgressions against Allah. Destruction of a Christian shrine or a Christian text is the destruction and part of grace. All religions and all faiths are ultimately part of Islam. Now we see why the great prophet put in the literature 8, while we, the Moorish, the Moraba Americans, are returning to Islam. Now we see why Islam, because Islam is ultimately all religions and all faiths are ultimately part of Islam. So this is why Islam is so great. Now we're finna learn about the Manis. O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All praise and worship be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the false prophet Manis, the false religion of the Aryans. The wicked poison burst forth of Babel, a false god and a false prophet who never existed, false texts and false scripture. Nothing of their wicked and evil text truth. They confuse the mind, control it. They speak of one thing, but mean another. They prey upon weak and confused minds, that they may control obedience through ignorance. The false religion of the Aryans. Let's get to the Sabians. Sabians, Sufa 82. O people, there is no other deity but Allah, the compassionate, the beneficent, the gracious. All glory and honor be to Allah and no other. Let the truth be now revealed concerning the Sabians, the one who believe in nothing but themselves, but claim to be devout and pious followers of all faiths. Look at the Sabians playing now. They be not the first inhabitants of the land, but Sabians are but pirates and robbers who wrap themselves in their gains, who pretend in all manner of ways to be the custodians of a desert of which they know nothing. Do not be deceived by the Sabians. They cannot speak truth, nor do they know it. They would sell even their son as a slave, if it meant avoiding the hardship of work. Verily, before the family of Islam is truly united, the lands must be rid of the Sabians who plague it. So that Sabian mindset, as we're moving through the history, the city, we done made it to the city, the new city with a new covenant, the new city of light, all Medina. One, O you who believe, let it be said, all Ahad. So that's where we get the word Ahad from. Allah is Ahad. Medina, see, they didn't say that. Now we know. KOS, knowledge of self. This is why we need the community. Community keep us updated and never degraded. Ahad means the unity, the indivisible. These the people that held strong. The 55th name of Allah, the infinite, the unique, the all-knowing. Let the truth and honor be now revealed concerning the city of light. Whereas the people of the city now called Mecca did abandon Allah and their honor, the people of the city of light held firm. Blessings be upon you, the people of Al-Medina. Whereas the people of the city now called Mecca did stuff their ears and pluck out their eyes to avoid the truth. The people of the city of light did rejoice in hearing the uh, the Al Sufyan of Islam. Verily, Allah then shall raise this city, be raised above all others. Let it be said, it shall come to pass that the streets and roads shall be like fine this city. Hear all who hear or read or believe these words to be true. It is your duty to pay homage to Al Medina as the cradle that saved all Sufyan. That we read, and they saved the way of Medina, the city of light. Medina as the timeline of the Moorish prophets. So we see as a long recap, Mecca is not the true place, nor is it the true name. Abraham is the father of all Arabia in the east. Abraham is the father of the Moors. The Moors' ancient name is Moraba. The Moors, the Moraba or Rabbi, Morabbi, is a name of Allah. And that name of Allah means the sacred smoke. Moors means the sacred smoke. And so we'll through history that has not been told. And so we're gonna leave us with some, we're gonna close out with some music and bring shout out to the people who saved the way. This is who we need in life, people that saved the way. So let's keep going. As we go, we're gonna be jamming. Thank you for joining. We love you. Eternal love and KOS. And shouts out back to this man for giving us the teachings of the higher self and the lower self.
Rampage, man, cause you've been a slave. Go out and take something, you too weak to make a wage. Do everything yourself, too strong to have faith. Living life at the bottom, you cursing that holy name. People not showing love, so you should just do the same. Go in and hate the world, all it produces pain. Tighten up your mind frame, shoot with a straight aim. Sharp as the sharpest shooter with rubies to take claim for what's really yours. Speak up, get a voice, realize you have a choice. Take it for what it's worth, find how to make it more. If you accept truth, this guarantee you a sword. I'm not going to remain on the cost, I'm righteous. Your higher self is heaven, did you know that? Did you know that? Your higher self is heaven, did you know that?
Peace and love, eternal love, and KOS to all.